The Gaza Strip is facing a dire humanitarian crisis. The ongoing conflict has devastated infrastructure. Essential supplies are scarce, hospitals struggle to function, civilians, especially children, bear the brunt of the violence and deprivation. The situation demands urgent international attention. Gaza's population is densely packed, exacerbating the crisis. Movement restrictions worsen the situation. International organizations struggle to deliver aid. The humanitarian crisis adds urgency to calls for a ceasefire. Amidst this humanitarian crisis, the situation in Gaza has reached a critical point. Hamas has called for a ceasefire, a move that has garnered international attention. This call is significant given the intensity of the conflict, which has caused widespread devastation and loss of life. Hamas cites the deteriorating humanitarian situation as the primary reason for its call, highlighting the urgent need for medical supplies and safe shelter. This move aims to alleviate suffering and allow aid to reach those in need, ensuring that essential resources like food, water, and medicine can be distributed. The ceasefire call doesn't signify surrender or a weakening of their stance. Hamas links it to addressing core issues, such as the long-standing blockade and restrictions that have crippled Gaza's economy. These include lifting the blockade, which has severely limited the movement of goods and people, and ensuring basic necessities for Gaza's population, who have been living under dire conditions. The call represents a strategic move by Hamas, aiming to achieve both immediate humanitarian relief and long-term objectives. By calling for a ceasefire, Hamas hopes to open dialogue and negotiate terms that could lead to a more sustainable peace and stability in the region. The call for a ceasefire highlights the urgent need to address core issues for lasting peace. Without tackling these fundamental problems, any peace agreement will be temporary and fragile. The root causes of the conflict are complex and multifaceted, involving historical grievances, territorial disputes, and socio-economic challenges. Key among them is the question of Gaza's blockade, which has severely restricted the movement of people and goods, leading to a humanitarian crisis. Hamas demands its lifting as a precondition for any lasting peace agreement, arguing that the blockade has crippled Gaza's economy and exacerbated tensions. Another core issue is the recognition of Palestinian statehood. Without international recognition, Palestinians feel marginalized and disenfranchised. Hamas insists on a sovereign Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital, viewing it as a non-negotiable aspect of their national identity and aspirations. Addressing these deeply rooted political issues is crucial for any sustainable peace. Only through comprehensive dialogue and mutual concessions can a lasting resolution be achieved. Section 4. International pressure and the role of the UN. The international community has responded with a mix of caution and urgency to Hamas's call for a ceasefire. Various nations have expressed their concerns and are urging for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The global response highlights the importance of diplomatic efforts in resolving such crises. The United Nations has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities. The UN Secretary-General has emphasized the need for both sides to lay down their arms and engage in constructive dialogue. This call for peace is echoed by many member states who are keen on seeing an end to the violence. International pressure is mounting on all parties involved to return to the negotiating table. Protests and demonstrations around the world are demanding an end to the conflict. Diplomatic channels are being utilized to their fullest extent to bring about a resolution. The UN's role as a mediator is crucial in this conflict. Its ability to bring conflicting parties together and facilitate discussions is invaluable. The UN mediators are working tirelessly to ensure that both sides can find common ground and work towards a lasting peace. It facilitates dialogue and provides humanitarian assistance. The UN is also on the ground, providing much-needed aid to those affected by the conflict. Their efforts in delivering food, medical supplies, and other essentials are critical in alleviating the suffering of civilians. The UN also plays a vital role in monitoring any ceasefire agreement. Their presence ensures that both sides adhere to the terms of the ceasefire, helping to maintain peace and stability in the region. The UN's commitment to peacekeeping and conflict resolution is a beacon of hope for many. Section 5. Past ceasefires and skepticism. The history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is marked by numerous ceasefires. Many have been short-lived, failing to address the root causes of the conflict. This history breeds skepticism about the longevity of any new ceasefire agreement. Both sides harbor deep mistrust. Past experiences of violence and broken promises make it challenging to build sustainable peace. Overcoming this skepticism is crucial for any ceasefire to hold. Section 6. Hope for peace and diplomatic efforts. Despite the challenges, hope for peace remains. The human cost of the conflict necessitates persistent diplomatic efforts. The international community must remain engaged in seeking a just and lasting solution. The pursuit of peace requires dialogue, compromise, and empathy. It demands addressing the legitimate grievances of both sides. The journey is arduous, but the pursuit of peace remains a moral imperative.